on the Unleashed Alchemy channel. So I'm just going to dive right into this even before anyone comes on. So if you are watching this in the future, okay, thank you for being here. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. If you are going to be watching the videos, you may as well subscribe, right? So here's what I want to bring to you. This is going to be a very short live, a very quick video. So I was just got back from having lunch with one of my friends. Lunches, 3 hour lunches, typical, right? With a friend. So we were talking about a lot of things. One of the topics that came up was church, religious programming, and trauma that people experience. And so here's what I want to tell you. Number one, churches, religion, they were not designed to be a place for people to heal from trauma of all types. Okay? Emotional trauma, physical trauma, mental trauma, any type of trauma on any level, the church and religion was not designed to help people overcome that. Okay? I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to argue with you. That's what it is. Do your own research. So, because religion is a vampiric system, okay, it runs off of people's energy, whether that energy is elevated or not. Energy is energy. So, what does trauma have to do with that? So, what happens is many times when people attach themselves to a church, to a religion, many times it's because that they are seeking some type of relief or release from some type of trauma that they have experienced. 9 times out of 10, it was something that happened in their childhood. All right. And people come to church, they will have, some type of emotional outburst or release in church. They will leave the church building. They'll feel good, maybe for a few hours after the church service or even for a few days. And then something happens and they go right back into the swampy regions of bitterness, hurt, pain, anger, frustration, even rage, hate, jealousy. So they're carrying all that. But then they go right back to the service, right back to another Sunday service, hoping to get some type of release. It's like gambling, like playing the slot machine. Okay. You lose one time, but then you keep going because you keep thinking, okay, next time I'm going to win. Next time I'm going to win. That is what happens when you have people who have experienced trauma that go into the church, that are looking to the church to provide some type of relief. They're looking to the religion to provide them some type of relief for their trauma and for their hurt. So what happens is Sunday after Sunday, church service after church service, year after year, a person keeps going to church, but they're not getting healed. Hey, everybody, but they're not getting healed. Hi, thank you for coming on. I'm going to be really quick. If you want to know what this video is about, I encourage you to rewind. Okay, so then year after year, they keep going to church, hoping for release. This Sunday is going to be released. This Sunday, I'm going to get healed. It's this Sunday. It's this Sunday. Nothing happens. Nothing changes. So then that person finds themselves in a loop. Meanwhile, while that person is in a loop, still going to church, still attaching to their religion, that religion, because it runs off of energy, because it's a vampiric system, that religion is zapping that person's life force energy in the form of, because that person is carrying so much trauma, that person is bringing all their trauma into the church, And so the church is running off of their energy of fear. The church is running off of their energy of hate. The church is running off of their energy of pain. Okay. And that is what is feeding the system. So that is one of the reasons why the religion and church does not provide a space for healing. So then a person gets to a space where they say, okay, this religion, this way of life, this church is not working for me anymore. So then they physically leave. So now this person is out in the world. They dissociated themselves from the church. They do not go to any church service. They said enough is enough. But yet they don't see improvements in their external lives. Why? Because now you've got a double whammy. You've got the trauma that they experienced even before going to church, that they experienced in their childhood. And then they've got the trauma of religious programming. This is why I always say it is not enough to just leave and physically walk away from the church. You have to pull the thread on religious programming. How do you do that? You do that by reconnecting with your life force energy. You do that by getting reconnected with your body, because that is where your life force energy lies. That is where your identity lies. It is in your nervous system. It is part of your soul and spirit. So that's why if you've been watching me, if you're new here, whether you're new here or if you've been watching me, I always tell you the first thing to do. This is going to sound so simple, but we take it for granted. Meditate. Why do I say meditation? And I'm not talking about you sitting in a corner, having your legs crossed, the image that we see when we think of meditation. You could be sitting in silence. You could be laying down. You could be walking, but you have to get to a space where you are quiet. Spirit, your own spirit, is always speaking. The infinite intelligence that is you is always connecting, always speaking to you. Always. There's never a time when it is not. But it is up to us to get quiet enough, to be still enough, feel into our body again. Because remember, if you've been part of religious programming, your life force, and you were taught to not trust your body, you were taught to not trust your intuition, you were taught to always look outside of you. So you have to get back into a practice where you're going inward. That's what meditation does. And I'm not talking about sitting hours and hours a day. If you never meditated before, you can start off with 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And then what will happen is when it becomes a practice, then you will start to think, oh, wow, I wish I could sit for an hour and just be still. Okay. So another thing that you can do, and this is something I've never talked about, I'll talk about this more on another video, not on this live, because I don't want to be here too long. I'm actually getting ready to stop. But you can reconnect. Part of your meditation could be to get back into the creative you. Now, before you say, well, I'm not creative, I'm not talking about just sitting down drawing a picture. I'm not talking about just sitting down painting. It being creative is beyond that. I'm just talking about getting back into doing something new, something fun. Why? Because being creative is a meditative experience. That is a meditative act. We all are creators. Why? How? Because we create with what we say. So you could be an engineer. You could have your own engineering company. You could be working with another company, be the top engineer, and you are creative. Scientists are creative. So there's no such thing as, oh, I'm not creative. No, we are all creators. So if you are feeling you've disassociated with your religion, your church, some people will call it deconstructing. I like to call it reconstructing because you are reconstructing your life. You're getting reconnected and reacquainted with your true identity, not the program version, but the truth of you. So you'll hear me say reconstruction. All right. Whatever. You can use whatever term you want. That's the word I choose to use. So, and you're finding that that process is daunting. First of all, just accept it. It can be. It can be. But you have to understand why you came into the religion in the first place. Especially in this video, I'm talking about if you came into the religion, you came into the church specifically because you were trying to get away from or find some relief from some type of trauma that you have experienced. Well, it's because you've got all of this packed on top of each other. But you don't have to fret. There's no, I don't want this to sound like a doom and gloom. I'm just giving you some insight as to why it can feel so heavy. Show yourself some grace, meditate, get creative, show yourself some grace, be gentle and be kind to yourself. Okay. Let me give you an example. I ran into a woman that we went to one of the same cults. All right. And she just left. She had just left. And I saw her and she was so down on herself. And she came into that church looking for relief because of the trauma that she experienced. She was looking for that. And she told me, she said, I can't believe that I was so stupid. I can't believe, what did I do? I was dumb. No, show yourself some grace because you came into it looking for some relief. You were hurt. That is natural to not want to feel hurt. That is natural to want to get rid of bitterness, to not constantly be or feel like you're being traumatized over and over and over again. That is natural to want to live without that. So I told her, you have to show yourself some grace. We are not blaming ourselves here. We are not we're not pointing the finger at ourselves. We are showing ourselves grace. So I want to tell you, if you're watching this now, you're going through this, whether you're watching this on the live or you're watching this in the future, you have to show yourself some grace. So meditate, be creative, and be gentle with yourself. All right. So that is the message that I wanted to share with you all really, really quickly. Also, don't forget that if you are looking for more one-on-one support in your spiritual odyssey, book a call with me so that we can chat, okay? We can have a brief chit chat about how I can support you on your personalized spiritual odyssey. All right, until next time, cheers.